So, Sigma just announced the brand new 35mm 1.4 art lens for Sony E-mount cameras, and it looks good. It looks small too. They might be thinking, isn't there already a 35mm art lens for E-mount cameras already? Technically, yes, but if you played with the lens, or if you just even take a look at it, essentially, it's a DSLR lens retrofitted to fit E-mount cameras. It really isn't built from the ground up like what recent Sigma lenses are right now. This, however, this 35mm art lens was built from the ground up, designed specifically for Sony E-mount cameras, and I want one now. Also, that other 35mm art lens, like that was a heavy lens and very front heavy, and so I'm really looking forward to playing with this lens, which hopefully will be soon. If you've watched my channel for a while, you know that the 35mm focal length is my absolute favorite focal length. Just something about 35mm when shot at f1.4, like it just produces pretty images. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but Sigma's first art lens was actually 35mm. It was affordable, it looked amazing, and so I bought one for my Canon 6D. Oh yeah, you remember that camera. And at the time, I was a wedding photographer, and every photo that I took with that lens just looked incredible. So yeah, I freaking love 35mm. But when Sigma first brought the 35mm art lens onto the Sony E-mount system, like that first iteration of the 35mm lens was okay. I mean, don't get me wrong, the photos that I took with that lens was incredible, the video that I shot with that lens looked great, but I wasn't a big fan of the design, like the barrel was a bit too long. The autofocus was decent, but it was kinda noisy. And so it was a really good lens, but it just didn't feel right with my Sony camera. But now that their new 35mm art lens, built from the ground up specifically for Sony E-mount cameras, I'm really excited to test this lens out with my Sony a7S III. Also, I don't know if you know this, but I've been on a secret mission to find one perfect prime lens to complete my camera bag. There's this little space over here that's like begging to be filled with a prime lens, so we'll see if this lens is it. Wow, I'm like randomly hungry. Okay, random. Ooh, look at that. Internal focusing, stepping motor. Got an aperture ring that's declickable, very nice. Dust-proof, splash-proof, 67mm filter thread, 11 blade rounded diaphragm. Okay, we get it. It's an art lens. It's good. You can take a look at the full specs yourself if you want to. But what I'm really excited with lenses like this is that there are so many options out there for any one of us to have high quality lenses without paying the high price tag. I mean, I have two Sony G Master lenses, both cost $2,000 each. That's a lot of money. They're amazing lenses. I'm not hating on Sony at all, but you know, they are pricey. And even the Sony equivalent of the 35mm, the G Master version, very similar specs, that costs just under $1,400, where the Sigma 35 art lens costs $899. So almost half the cost of the Sony 35 G Master lens. Man, that's a big difference. Also, I think we should get away from the stigma that you have to get the most expensive lens in order to shoot the highest quality of videos and photos. Like, that is not true at all. All of that comes from skill and experience, and yes, gear matters to an extent, but you don't necessarily have to get the most expensive gear all the time. Which is why I love that the Sigma 35 art lens only cost $899. That's nice. That is very nice. The thing with lenses is that they all have pros and cons, and even though you might purchase a $2,000 lens, doesn't mean that you're gonna like shooting with that lens. Like, I have the 24-70 G Master lens. It's a great lens. I hate shooting with it because it's so gosh darn heavy. And so looking at this lens, like, this seems like a vast improvement over Sigma's first E-mount 35mm art lens, because the barrel isn't so long. It just looks like the right size for E-mount cameras. Wonder why it took them this long to make this lens though. Like, that took a long time to make. I've requested to review this lens, so not to worry. Hopefully I'll get my hands on it pretty soon. And I really want to compare it with the Sony 35mm G Master lens and kind of see which 35mm lens is the better lens. Ooh, that's exciting. That's very exciting. All right, well, that's it for today. A simple video I wanted to make reacting to the announcement of the Sigma 35mm art lens, the new art lens for Sony E-mount cameras. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below, and would you get this lens? All right, guys, I'm out of here. If you want to check out the lens, the link will be down below. But have a great day, have a beautiful morning or afternoon or evening, whenever you're watching this. Go eat a donut. Yeah, go eat a donut. Okay, bye.